Welcome to ESR Africa Insights. For this episode, I am speaking with Viven Perumal, who is the marketing executive at Conlog. Welcome, Viven.
Thank you.
So, Viven, we're going to talk about metering, and specifically between the utilities, municipalities, and the end user. But what has Conlog learned about consumer behavior, and how do we get people excited about smart metering?
Okay, great question. So what we've come to realize as an OEM in the metering sector is that consumers have become more energy conscious and they want to know about their consumption, what's taking up the load in the house. And as that behavior is driving for more visibility on the data, we need to respond to that, because if you roll out technology, technology has to be adopted by the consumers for the successful rollout of the technology. In smart metering countries overseas, there's been major pushback from consumers who didn't want visibility on some of their data behavior. So as Conlog, we've used technology platforms such as WhatsApp, apps on the website to ensure that we've given more convenience to the consumer so that they can look at what their consumption is, how to buy electricity tokens for prepaid meters more easily, and they can then manage their homes from a load perspective easier. So consumers definitely are kind of steering the technology demand in a certain way from what they are used to in the technology they're currently adopting. So we need to incorporate and integrate those technologies into their livelihood for smart metering.
I suppose that in terms of an end user, it is about security for them. They want to also protect their own data. They don't want to share that, and the systems that you are providing are giving that security. So let's talk
Absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit about the differences and similarities between smart meters for consumers and bulk users.
Okay, so if we look at the electricity grid, normally we talk about smart metering only on the residential side, but the grid goes from bulk supply right down to residential. And at every aspect of the grid, you got to know what your supply and demand is, and then how to calculate what those losses are. So if you look at consumers of bulk supply, your commercial, your light commercial users, they still got to be measured. We've come up with a very innovative solution for a 300 amp electricity meter that utilities can collect bigger bills from. So 80% of the electricity debt is by bulk users, and only 20% is on the residential side. So if you had to collect more from from the bulk users, the collection will be higher. So the technology has been more or less evening out across the bulk and residential side. We've seen that standardization in that space will help the utility to see what the consumption and demand is, supply and demand for bulk and residential. And this means that the residential meters will have to be smarter, but smarter grids have to be adopted to ensure that metering is smart on the grid for bulk and residential alike.
Sounds like there's a lot of moving parts there.
I think it's normalizing from a technology point of view, where we are using technology in the right way to get to smarter cities. So I think we're heading off in the right direction.
So talking about smart cities, how does metering assist with the supply and demand management, especially with power outages and water restrictions?
Yeah, it's all based on the visibility of data. If you look at the water supply, from the generation right down to the residential, you need to balance that supply, and you need visibility to know exactly where are the leaks in the system, where are the losses. And if you can measure in between strategic points, then you can isolate and you can respond quicker through data. So executive decision-making tools and using data analytics will give you that visibility to flag quicker for a response from the maintenance teams to get to any inefficiencies on the grid. Now, the same thing on the electricity side. If we can get more visibility on the data and the performance of how these meters are performing, how the technology is performing on the grid, then we can isolate and respond quicker. So there is, I would think, a larger push to get more analytics done for executive decision-making tools to take decisions quicker by looking at metering as just data nodes, as collection of data, but converting that data to knowledge to take decisions. I think that is where the important steps lie for utilities.
That is the key point.
Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Viven.
You're welcome.
And thank you for watching. Tune in for the next video and have a powerful day.